Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. AMC Stock at the end of the trading day at the time of recording this video is down about 6.28%. You're fighting right at that 8-day moving average. I see this as positive. Now, some of you guys might see this as negative. AMC Stock is down 6% on the day, but given other stocks are down as well, not a terrible day. AMC stock looks to now be above the 8-day moving average. It's back and forth. It's very volatile. There's a battleground going on right now. So I want to break down some of the option flows that we are seeing, at least on the option chain, go over some of the important price points for AMC stock, give you all of the news today, including Adam Aron's total compensation in 2022, over 2,000 times the average AMC employees compensation. And on top of that, I want to go over the Fed this Wednesday, what to be watching for, and what could ultimately move the markets. And I have a full breakdown for all of you guys here in this video. So let's get into it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Now, first things first, again, I want to point out this 8-day moving average. You have found very little respect for AMC stock at this 8-day moving average. What I mean by that is every time you get up to this, you retest it, you find this as resistance, AMC stock falls. That has been the seemingly, pattern that we have experienced over the last couple of weeks now. Recently as Friday, you actually closed above the 8-day moving average, and now today, for the most part, you've been above this for most of the day today, this 8-day moving average. But right now, you are fighting here. AMC stock is at $7.81 per share. This 8-day moving average is at $7.85 per share. And the stock is very volatile. Like I said, you were just above this, and now you're under this. So it is a full-on battle what is going on with AMC stock right now. Now, you do have some pretty bullish technical factors that are happening today, like the MACD continuing to steepen and looks even more bullish. This is a day where AMC stock is down 6.5%. In theory, this should not be happening. You should be seeing the MACD flattening out or even trending down, considering AMC stock is down 6.5% today. Now, let's look at the option activity as far as the option chain this week for AMC stock. And if you take a look, you don't have a lot as far as the actual numbers here. A decent amount, but it's not crazy. So at the $8 call, that's where you have about 8,300 for open interest, so a decent amount. And then at the $8 put, you have 10,500. So the $8 put mixed with the $8 call, very important. Now, why is the $8 put important? Well, if AMC stock goes above $8 per share, then these puts go out the money. Market makers can then go ahead and buy some AMC stock as they had to hedge these $8 puts for the downside. They go ahead and get rid of those hedges, and they go ahead and buy themselves some AMC stock. Now, on any further upside past $8 per share, $8.50, you're going to see about 7,200 calls go into the money, and you're going to lose about 3,400 puts that would go out of the money at that price. Now, at the $9 call, you have 14,000 calls that would go into the money, and at the $9,000 or $9,000, wouldn't that be great? At the $9 put, you have about 2,600 for open interest that would go out of the money. And then the option activity starts to die down, believe it or not, closer to about the $10 strike. You have 5,500 calls out the money at the $10 strike. At the $10 put, you have about 1,400 puts that are currently in the money. So the most important prices for AMC stock this week, believe it or not, are the $8 and the $9 puts. Even the 850 is pretty important. So if we do get a break above 8, we start to get a break close to about 850, you could pretty quickly head to about $10 per share. That's what it looks like to me, considering you don't have a big wall of option activity at that $10 price. Now, obviously, things could change today. They could change tomorrow. You could see a big buyer come in, buy a bunch of puts, buy a lot of calls, and that is obviously going to affect AMC stock. And that is something to be mindful of that can happen pretty quickly within a short time frame of notice. Essentially, that could happen right now. So be on the lookout for that. Now, this article really caught my attention. It came out 27 minutes ago. It says AMC stock, Adam Aron's compensation comes in at $2,421 to 1 ratio, meaning that Adam Aron is paid more than over 2,400 AMC employees. This was as of 2022. This really gets under my skin because at one point, sure, you got to pay your CEO, you got to compensate appropriately, but is this appropriate considering AMC stock has lost 90% of its value? Your fiduciary duty is to do things that benefit these shareholders, and that has really not been happening as of recently. Now, the end of this article goes on to say, accordingly, when investors see these kind of ratios pop up, it's hard to make a case that AMC is the same company retail investors back 2 years ago. This is a company just like many out there with a management team that seems to be focused on compensating itself first, then handing out scraps to those at the bottom. For many AMC stock loyalists who have lost almost everything since jumping in near the peak of meme mania, that's too much to bear right now. And unfortunately, as much as I don't want to bring this kind of information to your attention, I just simply have to, because that is my job, I feel, to give you the good, the bad, and everything in between. And this is not looking all too good. It really makes you want to form a class action lawsuit against AMC. Let me know down below in the comment section if that is something that you guys would join, because I just think the compensation here is absolutely ridiculous. The fiduciary duty got thrown out the window, especially with this last offering from AMC. It made no sense. It caused AMC stock to drop 80%, and right now they're really not doing anything to try to boost up AMC's share price. Like, literally not a single thing. Sure, wine is great. Who doesn't love wine? But that's not what the markets necessarily wanted to hear you spending your money on, that you just raised, $300 some million, unless this were to actually hit the shelves in stores themselves, then maybe, sure, that could be okay. From what I got, it would be sold in AMC theaters. And that was the news we covered in the last video. Check that out if you have not done so already. So we don't have some actual numbers here, but I guess you could speculate that, I mean, let's throw some numbers in the calculator here. Let's say the average AMC employee works a full year and makes $22,000, and you times that by 2,421. Adam Aron's compensation, roughly $50 million. $53 million is what this calculation is, but I would round down a little bit to $50 million. That's quite a paycheck, considering that you really haven't done anything with AMC stock. So that's why stock-based compensation and really performance-based compensation is such a great thing. That's ultimately what we want to see. And hopefully that does come at some point here on the near-term horizon. So there is some of that information. Now let's get into what's going to be happening on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we are going to get the next Fed meeting. Now we're going to get the summary of economic projections. This is for September. These are going to cover expectations for 2023, 2024, and 2025. Let me tell you right now, 2023 does not matter. But if you do see a big change for whatever reason, the Fed does price in more rate hikes or less rate hikes, well, that could obviously move the markets as well as your GDP expectations. I don't expect at this point we will see many changes for 2023 estimates at all. But for 2024, I took the liberty of highlighting what is really important for the markets. And the change in GDP is obviously very important, because what's actually happened in 2023 is the estimates for GDP in 2024 have been going down from the Fed throughout the whole year. Now that we have a strike with the auto union, now that we have other things going on, do those estimates fall even more? And there is a bee in the room, so I gotta go kill it real quick. So if the Fed further revises 2024 GDP estimates to fall even more, that's going to be bad. If the Fed also expects the federal funds rate to drop more than their previous estimate of 4.6%, that could also be bad, really signaling the Fed thinks a recession or economic decline is coming in 2024. Now, the circle here on 2025 estimates will be important as well. If those do move down quite a bit, markets won't care about this as much because, yeah, markets are forward-looking, but markets are not 2025 forward-looking. A lot can happen by 2025. 2025. So this is going to be by far the most important event for our markets heading into Friday, and these are the three things to be watching. Now, you're also going to get the unemployment rate projections, and the Fed is expecting 4.5% unemployment for 2024 as well as 2025. If these estimates go up, that's going to be bad, in which I'm really not expecting they will. They could actually stay the same is kind of what I'm expecting. Your inflation expectations, that's also important in conjunction with GDP estimates as well as the federal funds rate projections, but the GDP expectation and the Fed funds rate projections are the most important things, and that is really what's going to give you a gauge of sentiment and how the Fed is feeling about the economy in 2024, and that's ultimately what matters to the markets. Now, in terms of AMC stock, what the data actually looks like for today, you have a current short score of 70, 210 million worth of short positions in AMC, estimated short interest of free float 12.67%. That's not true at all. The short interest that was just reported to us was around 17%. Take that with a big grain of salt as well. There's a lot of manipulation, there's a lot of hiding of short positions, and that should also be factored in. Now, the free float out on loan is 13.58%, with shares out on loan 26.87 million. Days to cover 2.18, cost to borrow 6.81%, and utilization of 67.18. Currently have an estimated 25.34 million shares that are sold short, and if you take a look at the cost to borrow fees, cost to borrow max about 15%. Now, as far as AMC stock, we obviously want to watch and see kind of how AMC evolves with the markets. It looks like today markets are kind of green today. They're actually flat on an S&P basis, but NASDAQ is green a little bit today, though all that looks about flat as well. So we kind of want to watch to see what happens with AMC. For the vast majority of the day today, the S&P and the NASDAQ were up quite a bit. AMC stock was down, so you've seen that inverse relationship. Now, does AMC go higher if the markets do fall? That's what we want to see throughout the rest of this week. And then ultimately coming on Wednesday, that's where we're going to get the big potential, move of this week, which could be positive for AMC. It could be negative. I do think the risk to reward profile on AMC is very attractive here. I don't think your downside is nearly as large as your upside. Obviously, stocks can only go to zero and your upside can be unlimited, but given the fall that you have seen recently, your buy the dip moment has definitely come. I think the low is in at $7.05 per share. Obviously, I could be wrong. Things could get worse from here. The fundamentals will be increasingly more important, but even the 8-day moving average and the way that you are fighting here shows a lot of buyers stepping in at this 8-day moving average. So you even want to watch the move around that 8-day moving average heading into after hours as well. That does count. And if you look at some of the technical signals like the RSI at 26.47, that very much does signal you're probably at a bottom here, and the MACD as well starting to go positive. The yellow line is above the blue line, baby. So that is going to do it for this video. Let me know your expectations for AMC stock throughout the rest of this week and beyond. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.